Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise at this time as the Manual Academy JROTC presents the colors.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Colors. Right. Face. Forward. Arm.
Thank you. Please take your seats. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. We've got a great crowd. We're so glad you could join us today. My name is Win Stoller, and I'll be the MC for this, the Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce State of the City Lunch, featuring the keynote address by Peoria Mayor Jim Artist. Our presenting sponsor today is Dewberry, and joining them as a sponsor is Humana, two great organizations that do so much for our community. We thank them both for their generous support. It's now time for our invocation, which will be given by Andy King of Dream Center Peoria. And once he is finished with the invocation, you may please enjoy your lunch.
Let's pray. Jesus, we thank you for what you are doing in this great city. There's so much that is happening that we could be all here all day just writing about the accomplishments of businesses, the schools, the hospitals, the non-profits, the churches. God, I pray that we will change the language a little bit to not what we have to do in Peoria, but what we get to do in Peoria. The privilege it is to live in this great city, work in this great city, serve in this great city. When it seems dark and when there may be so much going on, that's when light can shine the greatest. God, I just pray that as we go about our day, that we understand that we get to be a part of something so good in this city. That we can bring solutions. God, I just pray that we will change our mindset, that what we have and what we get to bring can bring change. So God, I pray you'll be with us today as we hear the mayor and everything that is happening within this city. That we'll be able to hear his heart. be able to hear what great things are happening. That we're not perfect, that we haven't got it all together, but yet you have a plan for this great city. So God, I pray you'll bless him now as he speaks, and God, I pray for the food that we are about to eat. In your name we pray. Amen.
Hello again, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed your lunch. We have a great turnout today. It's just a wonderful crowd. And in fact, I think it might be a record crowd here today. In fact, I was going to announce the total, but unfortunately, we're using the same organization that's counting the votes over in Iowa. And so we may not know the total here today for a week or so. I don't know. Okay, well, it's now time to begin our program, and it's my pleasure to introduce Tracy Coker from Dewberry, who will introduce today's speaker. Tracy.
Thanks, Wynn. Kind of hard to follow that excellent joke. Good afternoon. Welcome. It's our privilege to sponsor the State of the City event for our community. Peoria has been the home for Dewberry architects and engineers since 1954, and this is where we live and work every day, and we love being part of this community. I just wanted to share something with you from last week. We were observing a two-day charrette with the Uplands Neighborhood Association and some of our city planners to talk about the future of their neighborhood, and it was so great. They were so engaged, talking with their neighbors and sharing the commitment to Peoria, and to see all those efforts of everyone, like our neighborhood associations and so many of you in building on the existing strengths that we have in our community is really encouraging. So your attendance today is an indication of that as well, so thank you for being here. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Jim Artis, our mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce and for Dewberry for underwriting the event this year. I'm honored to be able to present my thoughts for your consideration in this, my 15th year as mayor. You may or may not remember that in last year's address, I challenged this audience to work together to change the narrative. Many of you have taken that challenge to heart. Thank you very much for that. To the rest of you, what are you waiting for? If you rely on others to tell your story, our story, you're not pulling your weight. And we need to work together inclusively to move our community forward. I'd like to start today by asking everyone here who started a business to please stand up. Don't be shy. Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. As a business group, you all understand the value of the entrepreneurs who start business. There's over 30.2 million small businesses in the United States, comprising 99.9% of all United States businesses. Small businesses employ 58.9 million people, which is over 47.5% of our country's total workforce. So today I'm going to tell you a few things that are occurring in and around Peoria. My goal is to encourage you to become more informed about the dynamic that is happening here, and then add your data and pass that along. The current buzz that's happening in our area will be more like a roar when we're all contributing and all sharing in our successes. So to get this year's address focus, I'm going to ask you to please watch this short video.
What will it be like?
The future?
Yeah.
Well, cars will drive themselves. Your clothes will save the ocean. They'll be made by plants. Glasses will be used to train surgeons. You may even be CEO.
Really?
If you work hard enough.
When does it start?
It already has.
The future is...
Yes, the future is here. And it's not by luck that we're seeing extensive development happening, and much of it in the innovation space. And as you'll learn shortly, some of these inventions have the capability of changing the world as we know it. I'd like to start today by introducing you to Induvo. Induvo is an immersive learning platform that enables anyone to teach and learn in minutes without coding and at a fraction of the typical cost. Induvo enables anyone to quickly create and share on-demand AR and VR learning experiences. Lessons are created in minutes. Content is distributed and managed easily. Long lead times for VR training are virtually eliminated. Learning is enhanced by realistic 3D learning. Compared to traditional learning methods, Induvo makes teaching, learning, and training better. Users are seeing a 75% savings in content development costs, 70% decrease in content development time, and a 95% increase in learner confidence. Let's view a quick video from Induvo creator Dr. Matthew Bramlett, pediatric cardiologist at Children's Hospital of Illinois and the University of Illinois College of Medicine.
Hello, my name is Matthew Bramlett, and I'm a pediatric cardiologist at the Children's Hospital of Illinois and the University of Illinois College of Medicine. And I'm here today to tell you about Induvo, which is a company we founded. And so, if you may have heard by now that we're 3D printing hearts for congenital heart disease. And it makes a lot of sense, right? We're putting the complex 3D object in the surgeon's hand before they go into the OR. Well, in 2017, we received funding through an incredible endowment. The Arches Endowment is a collaboration between the University of Illinois and OSF that puts the physician with the problem in the same research project with the engineer that has a solution. And my co-founder, Justin Draws, said, you know, I can put those hearts in VR. And since 2016, we've not printed a heart for surgical planning. And it has enabled us to scale this up. One of the early things that we discovered is whenever I would put the expert in and they would begin sort of talking about this heart, it wasn't, let me tell you about it, it was let me show you about it. Let me show you how this works. And what that really allowed us to do was to capture the expert. As soon as we saw the results of this in VR, where the expert was standing there and teaching us, it was dramatic. We knew we had something. And so we're trying to figure out how do we launch something. So in 2018, we founded Induvo. Induvo is, our primary mission is to decrease the disparity between those that know something or have this expertise and those that want to learn. There is a tremendous need everywhere for this to occur. So if you think about in surgical planning, the things that are going on in Peoria, we've done 133 hearts, over 300 models when you consider all of it together. We're shipping these hearts initially physically printed to Columbia and to Iowa. Now we're sending the digital files to Mount Sinai, Westchester, New York, Johns Hopkins. And the VR has enabled us to expand that distribution of here is something that is very valuable to you as you're trying to learn or prepare for something complex, and our ability to share that around. And so we're using it at the University of Illinois for training with one of the largest VR labs in the nation. We're using it at OSF for not just the surgical planning, but also training and education. And a couple things on that. Whenever you hear something's happening in Peoria, you probably figure it's going on elsewhere. Peoria, we are the only place in the nation that has the workflow, the processes, and the capabilities to take many of these images and convert them into something that the surgeon can find immensely helpful for pre-surgical planning. We're now using this in surgical oncology, and this is opening a whole new door of how we can understand things before we go into the OR. We're using it for specific training in the hospital, so nurses that are going from the floors to the ICU. Traditionally, they would sit in the classroom for 8 hours. Once we've converted that into Induvo, it is now a 2-hour module that covers the exact same material in, a fraction of the time. And so if you think about the primary value proposition of Induvo is making the transfer of knowledge more effective and efficient, that is the remarkable effect is that dramatic reduction in time. And if you think about the cost, so if I'm going to create an immersive experiential learning modules, it's going to cost us 50 to 100 grand for 5 to 10 minutes of material. In Induvo, I can bring in somebody that's never been in VR, and they can use our authoring software to create that module in half of a day at the cost of the software. We are an enabling tool for any training that needs to occur anywhere. If there are any companies in this region or elsewhere, the ones that are using us are saying, I have an entire fleet of field engineers that expertise is retiring. How do I get that to the next generation? That's what we're accomplishing. You're not hiring us to teach. You're buying our software so that your own people can teach your own ways of doing things and understand these complex components. It was under Steve's leadership that we took Induvo from this idea of medical decision-making and understanding and transitioned it towards other things. So last year we received a $1.2 million SBIR grant for Air Force training. And the Air Force walked in and Steve's like, well, you don't have to put a heart in. Here, I can put in a terrain. I can put in a engine. And their mechanic can sit there and go, this is the valve that always goes bad. You got to make sure that you tighten this down a little more than the other. And it's not just them telling you about it, it's them showing you. And when you think about where Peoria is and what we're doing, we have the raw materials to come up with new ideas and export them into these new companies. And I am so proud that Induvo is one of these companies that has been born here in Peoria, so that we can actually say, you don't have to go anywhere else to make these wonderful things happen. It can happen right here in this town. Thank you.
You can probably see why I didn't try to explain that to you. As Dr. Bramlett mentioned, his work in large part was made possible through the Arches Endowment, applied research for community health through engineering and simulation. This $112 million endowment provides up to $4 million in funding for local projects each year. AIM, or Advanced Imaging and Modeling, is an innovative collaboration pairing clinicians and engineers with the most advanced imaging and modeling technologies available. Through the Arches Endowment, these clinicians and engineers are achieving operational excellence at OSF and jump simulation by lowering barriers to virtual reality education across their institutions. I'd like to take a minute and welcome Dr. Bramlett to the luncheon this afternoon. Thanks for being here, Dr. Bramlett. Stand up, say hi. Now, over the past year, sustainable materials startup Natural Fiber Welding has been quietly growing and expanding operations at their facility on Galena Road. Let's watch another quick video to learn more about NFW's innovative approach to using plants, not plastic.
More new tonnage of plant matter will grow today on Earth than all of the synthetic things produced by people in the next year. Natural fiber welding is taking those abundant natural plant materials and churning them into all of those things that give you a high quality standard of living. One of the key insights of NFW was that we didn't just have cool science, we had a solution to major world global sort of problems and issues. So this whole overuse of plastics, the whole idea that the world is overly dependent on fossil resources, that problem, there's any number of ways to think about solving that problem, but solving it with the scalable solutions, the solutions that can cost effectively be deployed to billions of people, is sort of what drove this company to be what it is today. I would argue strongly that nature is the original circular sort of invention. What we're doing is sort of adding a little piece to that, which is not only the ability to mold and shape, but also the ability to churn natural things back into new natural things that you can reuse in other ways as a second, third, fourth, etc. life. What we have in front of us is the ability to solve problems and create a positive set of solutions that allows our children to have more with less.
So not only has NFW, yes. Not only has NFW expanded their square footage from 30,000 to over 55,000 square feet, but they've hired 14 new employees with plans to hire another 20 this year. What's even more sensational is the global interest that NFW has been attracting, with 8 international partners or customers traveling to Peoria, plus countless others making the trip from across the U.S., including big names from the West and East Coast. In total, over 22 unique industry partners, potential customers, and global brands have come to visit NFW in just the past year. And clearly, it's been working. In 2019, NFW secured over $6 million of equity funding, most of which is from outside Greater Peoria, and includes a world-leading textile mill with a global footprint and customer base. Additionally, they secured more than $2 million of grant funding in 2019 to help expand their product lines, which includes Mirum, the world's first plant-based leather alternative that's receiving tons of positive press, including over a dozen feature stories in prominent global media outlets, including Textile World, Marker by Medium, Fast Company, and Vogue Business. Additionally, NFW is part of an exclusive Amsterdam-based accelerator, Fashion for Good, and they are continually being invited to speak or present at global conferences. So far, in just the first month of 2020, NFW has been an invited speaker and participant at Neonite in Berlin, Text World in New York City, Future Fabric Expo in London, and Change Now Conference in Paris. We're really excited to have founder and CEO Lou Caverhals and the COO Steve Zika joining us today. What they're doing here could be transformational for our city and our world. Steve and Luke, thank you. I have one more startup to talk to you about this afternoon, and that's NTS. NTS is a nanotech company founded with a mission to commercialize university-based nanotech discoveries. They're currently focused on bringing a novel proprietary energy harvesting technology to market called graphene energy harvesting, or GEH. GEH converts ambient energy into electricity with non-circuitry in conjunction with graphene membrane. GEH has a higher projected energy density than existing energy harvesting methods. Initially, NTS will enter the market as a chip-level internal recharging mechanisms for IoT devices like wireless sensors and GPS trackers. GEH is scalable, and NTS has ambitions to utilize it for increasingly higher power outputs over time. Breakthrough discoveries of graphene were made at the University of Arkansas by physics professor Dr. Paul Thibodeau, where R&D is still continuing. The commercialization team is based right here in the Peoria area. I think you'll enjoy this short video.
What if a power source existed that was clean, not dependent on weather, and could fit in the palm of your hand? Imagine the possibilities. Bringing electricity to every part of the world. A pacemaker that recharges itself. The ability to bring clean water anywhere and everywhere. Something as simple as refrigeration for medications and blood. Incubators and ventilators for children. How many lives would be impacted by such a technology? We are NTS Innovations, a science to commercialization company specializing in nanotechnology. And our goal is to transform products, industries, and lives. In the early 1900s, Einstein theorized there were small particles that were constantly moving. We now know these particles as atoms. In 2004, the University of Manchester discovered a material known today as graphene. In 2017, Dr. Paul Thibodeau discovered there is motion in graphene that can be captured and turned into storable energy. Einstein won the Nobel Prize for his discovery. The University of Manchester won the Nobel Prize for their discovery. And we predict that Paul Thibodeau will be awarded the Nobel Prize for his. At NTS, we are building on Dr. Thibodeau's groundbreaking work by developing a nano generator chip that uses no fuel and produces no harmful emissions. It is clean, efficient, and customizable. The application for this new source of electricity are virtually endless. Here is a quick look at how we compare to a few other common renewable energy sources. Our energy density is predicted to be above 100,000 watts per square meter. This is significantly higher than either wind or solar, which have energy densities of less than 500 watts per square meter. We know there are at least 1.3 billion people worldwide that lack basic access to electricity. We can assume these same people have limited access to clean water and medical services. Our new source of energy has the potential to create a world where these problems cease to exist. Now imagine that the question is not what if, but how soon. We are NTS Innovations, and we'd like you to join us in making our vision a reality. Contact us today to learn more. NTS Innovations, tiny scale, massive impact.
So we just introduced 3 invigorating companies located here that are at various levels of development and getting their breakthroughs to market. And there are more just like these. And as we work together to reinvent the future of Peoria through innovation, I could not be more excited for the work taking place downtown at the ICC Thomas Building to create the Peoria Innovation Hub. Modeled after the 1871 Technology Accelerator in Chicago, the Peoria Innovation Hub will be a magnet for talent and entrepreneurship in our region. This facility will house co-working, a makerspace, private offices for startups, and spaces for community collaboration and education. The Peoria Innovation Hub is located in a federal opportunity zone and across the street from the new OSF Healthcare World Headquarters. The Peoria Innovation Hub is part of a larger Illinois Innovation Network that includes a dozen other sites in the state. While each of these sites offers important strengths and opportunities for collaboration, I'm delighted that Peoria is leading the way to implement this effort and that our efforts have been recognized by Governor Pritzker, who came to Peoria to officially kick off Peoria Innovation Hub and lend his endorsement just a few months ago. And then on May 1st of last year, the Peoria Innovation Alliance set the ball in motion at their launch event titled Change the Narrative. A diverse cross-section from across the community came together and was exposed to some of the great innovative initiatives and companies operating right here in our backyard. Not just the companies already mentioned, but those you saw on the big screens during lunch, like Bump Boxes, Big Picture Initiative, Widecast, River City Labs, Better Earth Logistics, and others. Following that event, on October 8th, the Peoria City Council unanimously approved the designation of an innovation district in downtown Peoria in partnership with the Peoria Innovation Alliance. This 9-block area is the area that we're targeting for economic and innovative growth. The district will be home to a smart city pilot, including autonomous vehicle test routes, smart transit solutions, public Wi-Fi, pedestrian sensors, open data, and other innovation-related initiatives aimed at bringing concentrated economic activity to downtown Peoria. The mission of the Peoria Innovation Alliance is to share our region's innovation history, promote our progress and vision for the future, and enable and empower the next round of innovators, entrepreneurs, and startups that call Greater Peoria home. I'd like to thank Peoria Innovation Alliance founder and executive director Jake Hammond, his team, and their board of directors for their hard work and focus on the launch of the Innovation District. And really one of the most sensational things I have the privilege of announcing today is that the Peoria Innovation Alliance has secured Peoria as the city selected to host the first ever North American competition for the Future Agro Challenge Startup Competitions. It's part of a 60-country global initiative. Hundreds of participants, including agriculture-based startups and corporations from across the Midwest, will be descending on Peoria in mid-April to compete in a 2-day pitch contest in categories like food security and sustainability, agriculture education, nutrition and health, agroforestry, and agricultural production, just to name a few. The most motivating part is that the winners from this Peoria competition will be awarded an all-expenses-paid trip to Greece in September to compete in the global competition with the chance to win up to $100,000 and meet with the top agriculture companies and experts from around the world. This event will undoubtedly put another feather in Peoria's innovation cap and help us to continue to showcase our community's support for entrepreneurship, innovation, and startup activity at a regional, national, and global level. We know that here in Peoria, innovation is not really a new phrase. Caterpillar was founded on innovation. They put the track in track-type tractor. They were the first to put a diesel engine in that tractor. And they were developing autonomous driving technology decades before it became in vogue. Meenakshi Iyer and her team train over 500 medical students, residents, and fellows every year. Included in that number are 244 students in the 4-year curriculum. The students, residents, fellows, faculty, and staff drive millions of dollars into our community every year. So it's no surprise that healthcare has become the largest employment segment in Central Illinois, employing over 30,000 people according to the Greater Peoria EDC. That's over 16% of our workforce. We're privileged to have world-class healthcare providers in Peoria. I'd like to congratulate Dr. Keith Knepp, who was recently named the Regional CEO for Unity Point Health Central Illinois. His leadership will ensure that Unity Point maintains their quality care and fine service to our community as the 8th senior affiliate of Unity Point Health, the nation's 5th largest non-denominational health system. Unity Point Health is proud of several stimulating new programs, all to expand on the cutting-edge healthcare that's available right here in Peoria. Midwest Orthopedic Hospital at Unity Point, Proctor, has launched in partnership with the physicians of Midwest Orthopedics. The Midwest Orthopedic Hospital at Proctor is a specialized orthopedic hospital offering the convenience and ease of outpatient care with the resources and expertise of a full-service hospital. Also in 2019, Unity Point was honored to join forces with the Human Service Center and Tazwood Center for Wellness coming together to form Unity Place. The vision of Unity Place is to provide comprehensive, coordinated behavioral health and addiction services to our region. And at the same time, Unity Point is tackling the opioid addiction crisis head-on, including being awarded a $1.7 million grant to provide improved addiction services in their hospitals. The cardiovascular surgery team is excited to be performing minimally invasive aortic valve replacement surgery, providing state-of-the-art cardiology care. And finally, Midwest Methodist College continues to expand into new programs, building new opportunities for students and growing a professional workforce. You know, last year I was gratified to present the Mayor's Outstanding Community Service Award to OSF Healthcare for their commitment to and investments in Peoria. Their decision to renovate a historic building in downtown Peoria as a new home for their healthcare ministry headquarters was a massive shot in the arm for all of us. We recently learned that OSF Healthcare is requesting permission from the state to approve the construction of a $237 million regional comprehensive cancer center on its Peoria campus. The new center will provide life-saving innovations and state-of-the-art technology like proton beam therapy, which is only found in about 30 locations across the country. More people will come to Peoria from across the Midwest and beyond to receive highly specialized care. The new cancer center will elevate Peoria as a destination for cutting-edge cancer treatment and continue to restore a strong sense of community pride and economic vibrancy. So we all know that there's been some difficult times recently with the loss of some executive positions at Caterpillar and the overall dismal business climate in our state. But I sense a strong sense of urgency in our community to be a shining light to attract new business and vibrancy here. In addition to the ventures I've mentioned today, I'd like to take a moment and talk about how the focused efforts of a single individual have dramatically influenced the dynamics and optimism in this community. In December of 2018, there was an announcement that the Peoria Heights Library would be transformed into the Betty Jane Bremer Center for Performing Arts. The beautiful Performing Arts and Conference Center held its grand opening in August of 2019. And then in May of 19, it was announced that the boutique Atrium Hotel would be built in the Heights in hopes to open in the summer of 21. In April, we were elated to learn that the beautiful and historic Scottish Rite Cathedral had been purchased and was being renovated and restored. A new concert Steinway piano will be a hallmark feature in the renewal of the Scotty. It's sure to be one of the hottest locations for entertainment, concerts, banquets, and other community events. Next was a huge shot in the arm for the Peoria Women's Club in downtown Peoria. Their headquarters was the beneficiary of a $500,000 donation towards their fundraising goals. And at the end of 2019, a spectacular announcement that with a big investor getting involved, the Peoria Armory was finally going to come back to life as a major sporting and concert complex. There's also the Ciancody Lakes Resort and Retreat, Alfresco Park rejuvenation, and likely a lot more to come. A native son came home, and he's teaching us that someone who grew up in Spring Bay, went to East Peoria High School, Illinois Central College, and Loyola University can go on and have great success anywhere, in no small part because of the values that were instilled in him right here in Central Illinois. He's demonstrating to us that we have something very special to offer. With our unique history and architecture and work ethic and inventiveness and landscape including our greatest natural asset, the Illinois River, that runs right through it. He's instilling that we can compete with anybody, and to ask, why not here? And also help us remember what it feels like to be optimistic again, just like OSF did last year. So for these reasons and many more, I'm proud to announce this year's recipient of the Mayor's Outstanding Community Service Award. We have with us today the Executive Chairman of Tandem Diabetes Care, the entrepreneur behind multiple successful startup companies, and the guy who says, I'm not from California, I'm from Spring Bay. Please help me congratulate and say thank you to Mr. Kim Blickenstaff. There are so many stimulating and positive things happening in the community that there's just not enough time to mention them all. So I'm going to rapid fire a few right now. We've talked about bump boxes in the last few State of the City addresses. The world now knows bump boxes as the largest, fastest growing subscription box for mom and baby. CEO and co-founder Christine Deering's vision to help solve the challenges across their industry, including the lack of investment capital for women-focused and women-owned businesses, recently announced her plans to invest at least $1 million into early-stage mom-focused companies. Peoria thanks Bump Boxes for their investments here, and we want to help you stay here for a long time. The only multidisciplinary museum of its kind in the nation, the Peoria Riverfront Museum, uses art, science, history, and achievement to inspire confidence, lifelong learning, and talent. Since opening in 2012, the privately funded museum has provided more than 1 million experiences. The Peoria Riverfront Museum has more than 200 community and national program and content partners, including affiliations with the Smithsonian. From their Every Student initiative, Lego to Tiffany and Da Vinci and beyond. President and CEO John Morris is doing an outstanding job with the quality and content of the programs and exhibits, and he tells me that 2020 will really be spectacular. And talking about great things here that we take for granted, do you realize that our Peoria Park District is a 3-time winner of the National Recreations and Parks Association's Gold Medal? They serve an area over 60 square miles and 9,000 acres of land, including 52 miles of trails. When you look at amenities like our zoo, the Peoria Playhouse, Children's Museum, Owens Rec Center, and more public golf holes than the San Diego, you'll understand that it's truly amazing the jewel we have in our park district. Just last week, the community showed overwhelming support for their Donovan Sculpture Garden concept, not to be confused with the already successful sculpture walk downtown. Thanks to the Peoria Park Board and their Executive Director, Emily Cahill, for providing exceptional services to our community. And you need to look no further than right here in this building to acknowledge success. Last year, the Peoria Civic Center hosted 23 sold-out performances right here. And I've heard there might be a good crowd here Saturday night for a concert too. Thanks to the PCC board and GM Rick Edgar and his team. Keep up the great work. And along the same lines, our Peoria Public Library is one of the tops in the country. They have an outstanding board and executive director, Randall Yelverton, and deputy director, Roberta Kay, providing our community with exceptional service. I encourage you to participate in this year's Peoria Reads Project. The book is entitled The Hate You Give. It's a very good read. And big picture Peoria. Peoria has come to realize how important the arts are to our community. The arts brings millions of dollars in revenues and tens of thousands of visitors to our community every year. And speaking of the arts, let's give it up for Jonathan and Nikki Romaine and Art Inc. Art Inc. is artists re-envisioning tomorrow. They brought the old Greeley School back to life and are striving to enhance the quality of life for the community, especially our youth, through arts, education, and cultural programs. If you haven't been there, get there. And if you haven't donated, please do so. The community showed up big time to raise funding for our new Ronald McDonald House. We're so blessed as a community to have them here serving so many needing families. And Peoria Promise is in its 11th year, and thanks to many of you here, it's helping our future leaders achieve educational goals that they never imagined. Over 3,000 students have participated in Peoria Promise. No one else is doing what Peoria Promise is doing to enhance education opportunities for kids that live in the city of Peoria. The partnership with ICC is continually improving, and now the uniquely Eureka Promise provides an opportunity to expand the ICC education to Eureka College. Our students have an opportunity to earn a 4-year college degree at little to no cost, only in the city of Peoria. And by now we know that Build Peoria's goal is to unite the community through their love of the Peoria area and to physically build Peoria into a better place and leave a legacy for future generations. This year's project is the purchase and renovation of a home on the near north side to donate to the Peoria Police Department for use in our neighborhood officer program. The police department has seen an 11.5% reduction in the number of calls for service in the existing neighborhoods with resident officers. Thanks to Nick Yates and his team at Build Peoria for their positive leadership moving our community forward. The leadership at the General Wayne A. Downing Peoria International Airport continues to set passenger records and are working hard to provide us with outstanding direct flights with connections to anywhere in the world. Please use our airport for all your business and personal needs. Keeping this great amenity is critical to our community and its growth. They say, go global, fly local. Literally everyone here has a vested interest in making our community safe. Please invest your time, your talent, and/or your financial resources to help PCAV grow. PCAV is the Peoria Community Against Violence. Everyone wants a safe community, right? Go to PeoriaCommunityAgainstViolence.org or Facebook for more information on how you can get involved. Perhaps an unknown fact is that the average city manager's tenure in one place was about 3.5 years in the 60s and about 7 years in 2000. Up to now, we've had a lot of city managers, but we've only had 2 long-serving city managers, Robert Wright from 70 to 78 and James Dakin from 78 to 87. This year will mark Patrick Urick's 9th year as our city manager. We'd like to congratulate him and thank him for his administrative leadership to our city. In closing, I'd like to thank my peers on the Peoria City Council for their dedication to making Peoria better. A shout out to all of our educators who are grooming our future leaders. A special thanks to Dr. Sharon DeMilan-Karat, who's working hard for her board and making a difference in our Peoria public schools. When we talk about changing the narrative, we need to change it for the Peoria public schools too. There's so much great education being done there. And if you don't believe me, join me for a visit to any of our local schools. I've gone on many, and I will be glad to go with you on a tour. You'll be amazed. You think about how lucky we are when it comes to education. You could attend Valeska Hinton Early Childhood Development or any number of fine preschools, stellar grade in high schools, both public and private, ICC, Bradley, UIS, or other colleges, and then potentially attend the largest medical school in the country and never have to leave Peoria. So much that we take for granted. Similar to the city, you've seen where our friends at Bradley are having some challenging times on the Hill. I'm 100% confident that the university and Peoria will reemerge from our reorganizations and be even stronger. Bradley is so critical to our community, and we all wish them great success. Please join me in saying thanks to Gary Roberts and the best of luck to the board as they strive to bring in the highest caliber president in the nation. I'm going to go off cue here for just a second so I don't forget. Commercial break. See these cards on your table? It's for the mayor's roast. It's going to be on April Fool's Day this year. We're going to be roasting, everyone knows, Leslie Matuzak. So get your tickets in early because we know we're going to be filling the room up for that event. You may have heard recently that Matt George, the CEO and president of Children's Home, recently wrote a book titled The Nonprofit Game Plan, The Proven Strategy to Nonprofit Success. The original shark from Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington, wrote the foreword to the book and has mentored Matt on writing the soon-to-be bestseller. Matt is going to be out in the lobby today autographing his books for sale after the address with all the donations benefiting the Children's Home. Congratulations to Matt George. We've got a lot to be proud of and thankful for, Peoria. Take control of the narrative in whatever sector you're involved in our community. We're moving forward, we can, and we will be better. Don't hide your pride. I really want to thank everyone for allowing me the opportunity to provide this address and serve as your mayor. I wish God's blessings to all of you and that we have a great 2020. And before you leave, check out, I know you might be tired of videos, one more really exciting quick video about our new expansion franchise USL team, the Peoria City. Thank you very much.
Wow, this is a neat venue, great crowd, glad to be here today. I was going to talk about change. I'm the least likely person to talk about change. My wife would tell you that I'm the most reluctant change person in the world. But I want to compliment everybody. Talk to Jim, thank you very much for your comments. I want to tell you a little bit about what's going on with the chamber. Jeff Griffin obviously has moved to the cooler climes of South Dakota. I've been there, it's pretty cool. But in any case, so we're in the midst of looking to replace Jeff, both internally and externally. It's going to be a several-month-long process, but it should be a good process for the community as well. Within the chamber board itself, Wynn is presiding at his last meeting today because he's seeking Chuck Weaver's Senate seat. So we wish you all the luck in the world in this one. It takes a brave man to put his name on any ballot, I can tell you that. Succeeding Wynn will be Joy Ledbetter from Unity Point. Steve Jackson will be following her as vice chair, and Justin Ball will be moving into the secretary-treasurer role with the chamber board. So those are the changes that are taking place. Next week, there'll be a chamber membership drive. If you're not a member, please join us. There's about 1,000 members, and we can always use more. And we are driven by chamber membership dues. That's what supports the organization, and meals like this, which is a significant fundraiser for us all. I'm using a cane today. I was going to talk about medical changes because the medical profession, I had a hip replaced 5 years ago, and I was in the hospital for 5 days. Life was good. It was okay. My wife's a nurse. She was not looking forward to have to take care of me. And then 29 days ago, I had another hip replaced, the other side. Different procedure, different timing. I was in the hospital 30 hours. The technology is so greatly improved, remarkably improved. Post-operatively, 29 days ago, I was told, hey, no restrictions. I can do whatever I want while walking is pretty key right now. But back 5 years ago, Walker was essential for probably 6 weeks, and then free reign after 6 months. Now, the technology is really super. I appreciate the medical professionals in this area. We should all be grateful for living in the times we do medically. It's a great community to be in. Since Jim mentioned Bradley, I'm kind of involved with the Bradley Braves Club. Come out and support Bradley basketball. There are great things happening on the Hill. The student average, academic average for the first semester, 200 and some student athletes, 3.37 on a 4 scale. That's impressive. These are young people who perform well in academia as well as on their floor or whatever field of play they're in. So support Bradley basketball. Mark Scott mentioned that the other day on WMBD as he was pitching the black and blue ball, or Steve, yeah, over there. But he took a quick segue and mentioned supporting Bradley. So come out and support Bradley basketball. I think Bradley enjoys the greatest attendance support of any Missouri Valley Conference team today. So come out and support them. They deserve it. They're good kids. They work very hard at what they do, and I'm the only thing that stands between you and going back to work. So if you'd like for me to tell you some stories, I could. But in the meantime, thank you for supporting the Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce. Greatly appreciated. Join if you haven't. If you're not a member, join them. And we are adjourned. Thank you all.